Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about the one, the only ICP. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, yes, ICP is down, but I don't really consider this an ICP issue for me, ladies and gentlemen, personally. This is just the markets, right? These are just the markets. I mean, I can go to practically any coin, right? We can see this is ICP. I go to something like AKT. AKT is also down. Go to something like Turbo. Turbo is also down. I'll click on two more random ones. Caspa, right? Everyone knows Caspa is a respectable coin at the bare minimum, right? Caspa is down. Something like Render. Render is down. So this is not a ICP issue. This is just simply the markets being extremely annoying. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to get serious is now. The next few months are going to be the most crucial time of your lives. Okay. We're going to have crypto exploding. And this is the time to get a portfolio review, right? You got to make sure you have the right cryptos. You don't want any old or dead coins, or you don't want anything that can give you little profits, right? So we provide a portfolio review. We've also been smashing it with the high probability meme coins. We hit an 11x, an 8x, and 5.5x in recent times. We also provide a weekly report on the crypto data, on the crypto analysis, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, on other altcoins as well. You get all this and a bunch more other benefits. Highly recommend joining the private community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some money, right? A lot of us are running out of patience. A lot of us are, no longer dollar cost averaging. If you did see my ZBEC network video, you can see that I'm still personally buying, right? I did a huge purchase for ZBEC, but in terms of, other people, some people are clocked out, some people just don't have the money, or, some people even just sold for losses because they're getting scared, right? They're getting scared. For me, ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very simple for ICP and other coins, right? I see the data. I still see that there is going to be an altcoin season, even though things are just, they're on track, but they're taking long. And also, buying the fear is always really, really good, right? Buying the fear, buying the dips. That's where people make the most amount of money. And of course, selling at all time euphoria is where people cash out, but also where people burn a lot of money if they're buying the euphoria. Look, ladies and gentlemen, right? We're going to dive into this technical analysis right now. I used to say something like this where we can see that we have a top, another top, right? Top and another top. We can see that we have some type of structure, right? Structure like this, structure like this. And I used to say how, there's a little bit of up and then down. And I used to be like up and then down. But, ladies and gentlemen, although kind of everything is still the same, there is a decent chance, right? There's two things that are going to play out, and I'm going to show you both of them. So there's a chance where this going up and then coming back down for the final time is simply this coming back up, going down for the final time, and then reversing. Or, ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, that this is simply going to be, right, the liquidity sweep where we take out this bottom, and this bottom, right? Triple sweep. And then we start seeing reversals. Okay, we start seeing reversals. We start seeing strong reversals. Now, this is going to be up to the last quarter, right? This is going to be up to the last quarter. This isn't obviously up to me or anyone else. We're going to see what quarter four presents, right? We can see overall in terms of the 3-month price action, right? It was fun in the late 2023 and then the beginning of 2024, right? Mid 2024 sold off. A little bit of hopium in the late 2024, but it's just been kind of selling off ever since, right? We can see we entered this order block right over here, right? And we probably wicked somewhere in this candle right over here. We can see on the weekly, actually, this looks fantastic, right? We do something like this, boom, like that. So it tapped into it and then it just sold off. Now, overall, I still expect some type of recovery. And overall, I will be looking to be purchasing ICP one way or another. I probably will buy some, down here because, my initial gut feeling and reaction was that we were going to sweep this area, which did happen. And I will be taking the risk of buying it down here because if we do see strong momentum to the upside, then ladies and gentlemen, do not expect for this price to be coming back down, right? If we see a huge shift in momentum, kind of like the way we did with Bitcoin back in April, right? The first couple of days were a sell-off manipulation, but then the rest were just pumps, right? We can see once Bitcoin swept and manipulated, started to go to the upside, it was just kind of history ever since then. And once that happens with ICP, right, it's going to be history, this type of price action. So I personally will be looking to most likely buy some over here. And if not, ladies and gentlemen, actually, I will be buying here. And if we do end up going lower and lower, that still doesn't bother me because I am still super, super high on ICP myself. Yes, we are kind of retraced really, really low, right? We are probably like a 90 to 91% retracement from these bottoms down here, which is fairly, fairly low. But I would be looking to accumulate more, just even in terms of pure probability, pure math, pure risk, right? If we do tap off this last support zone before we, practically go below the lowest lows, there's just a high probability of seeing some type of recovery in the future. Now, I still think, ladies and gentlemen, that there is still going to be an altcoin season. And I still believe that, boom, we are going to see nice pumps, kind of like the way we had this type of similar top here, right? We had one top, two top, the whole price action, right? One top, two top. I do believe we're going to smash through these tops. We should be looking to head to at least the $30, right? The $30 is like the lowest of the low, the most garbage price action in my opinion, or the most garbage price target in my opinion, right? We do have other targets of right here, $50, which is, this is a very high probability target in my opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be looking for ICP to be hitting $75. And not only $75, but most likely even sweeping this high over here. Because we can see after that, ladies and gentlemen, there's no more institutional price action, right? We have just this high here, and we have this high over here, and this high over here. So yes, although I did say ICP could definitely hit 180 before, the thing is we need to see more data before we start making those type of promises, right? Well, I don't promise anything, to be honest. I haven't promised a single thing. I'm just simply a guy that does videos um, for price action. But before I can even actually start talking about $100 ICP or $180 ICP, I want to see price action all the way up here, and I need to see data before we even talk about something that could be completely irrelevant for this cycle. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think of ICP. Let me know what you guys think of the cycle. I know the cycle is very, very frustrating for the most part, right? Things are being stalled out. Things are being very, very annoying, and a lot of people regret buying when they did buy. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is part of the cycle in a way. That is part of the journey and experience. My first and second, journey wasn't the most smooth. Second one, I still saw a good amount of success. But the first one, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I was buying at the tops. I was a noob back in 2017. I was literally buying at the tops. And then, of course, when things went down like 80%, that's when I sold. I was one of those people many, many years ago, roughly, 8 to 9 years ago at this point. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is just part of the journey. That is just part of the experience. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, love you guys so much. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.